Today I want to talk about one of my all-time favorite pasta alternatives, and that's kelp. So I'm going to go through what kelp is, why everyone should be adding kelp noodles into their diet, and exactly how to cook them. Hey guys, it's Mona, and I'm so excited to talk about kelp, which I know sounds weird, but I'm obsessed with kelp noodles. I talk about them all the time on Instagram, I share them, and I'm always shocked that more people aren't taking advantage. It's genuinely like a miracle food. It's one of my favorite foods. Let me just tell you what it is before we get into a full recipe. I'm gonna explain what it is and then share like a little kelp pesto noodle recipe. So kelp is basically algae. So it's a type of algae, a type of seaweed, and it's like this jelly-like substance that comes from the algae. Then they take that and form it into a noodle. So when you see kelp noodles, it looks like almost like glass noodles, and this whole thing is just algae. It does not taste like algae, it tastes like nothing. The entire bag, this whole bag, let's see, 6 calories per serving, and there's 3. So this whole bag is 18 calories, like 9 grams of carbs and 0 fat. So you could literally eat an entire bowl of like basically noodles for nothing. And not only that, it's algae, so it's really good for you. It's actually been shown really helpful for people with thyroid disorder. If you have low thyroid, hypothyroidism, it's got a good amount of iodine. It's also shown to help balance out thyroid. It's got anti-inflammatory properties. It's got so many different benefits. It actually also has this protein in it. It's super interesting. It has a specific protein that is shown to help reduce fat. There was like a study that showed this protein mixed with pomegranate oil, like reduced fat in certain individuals in the study. So it's really cool. And the thing about like fake noodles, miracle noodles, like there's different ones on the market. There's one that's called like the shirataki noodles that are made from tofu, or the miracle noodles. Those always made me like a little skeptical because I didn't fully understand where they came from. And like, tofu is good in moderation, but with kelp, you're getting this like kind of pasta alternative with literally no bad effects. It's not like you're eating something that's been genetically modified or something weird. It's just literally algae. So it's one of the most amazing foods. In LA, I actually find it everywhere. If you go to different vegan restaurants, like Cafe Gratitude has it. There's so many places that offer, like M Cafe has a kelp noodle. Actually, M Cafe, if you guys are ever in Los Angeles, they do like a ramen noodle, but instead of noodles, they do kelp noodles, which is amazing. But I haven't found it at as many places in New York, and since I've been a little more bi-coastal now, I've really missed eating kelp noodles. I've always had trouble cooking them, but recently learned a little trick, so I'm going to teach you guys on here, because naturally they feel a little bit crunchy, and if you just kind of eat them like that, you're not going to like the texture. So there's a little trick we can do with some baking soda, some lemon, and then we're going to rinse it, and then we can make kelp noodles. I always like to rinse these out first in the sink just a little bit, so I'm going to go rinse that in the sink, and then we'll add the other stuff to soften them up. Okay, so when you rinse them, just kind of break them up a little bit. They're a little stuck together. You can't really tell the texture, but they're just kind of crunchy. They're not as soft yet. So we're gonna do 1 tablespoon of baking soda and kind of massage it in. And we're gonna rinse the baking soda out after, so it won't be on here. And then we'll juice 1 lemon. So a lot of recipes, when I tried to make kelp noodles in the past, will just say to do lemon. And they're like, just add a little lemon, leave it for an hour. For me personally, that's never worked. Maybe I was missing something, I don't know, but baking soda is kind of the missing step. You can hear the baking soda like kind of fizzing on there. So I think it's like softening them up. So now, oh my God, they literally feel softer instantly. It's kind of a miracle. So the other thing I love about kelp noodles, because they're so light, I actually always like to make sure I'm eating like a nutrient dense meal, because it's easy to get like filled up on them. Like if you were to just do this and like pasta and some veggies, I swear it's like you're eating noodles, but you're not getting that many calories, which is important. You have to make sure you're sustaining yourself. So I personally like to pair it with like a heavier sauce. So if you want like a pesto sauce, if you want like a cashew cream sauce and you want to add like, walnuts and different things to make it heavier, this is the perfect thing to pair it with, because that's your like dense food. Whereas if you pair some of those sauces with like a pasta, even if it is a chickpea pasta or something, it's a pretty heavy meal all around. So this is the perfect pair. Literally just completely softening up. This is amazing. Okay, so when you do this, you can literally feel them soften like in your hands. Now it just feels like amazing noodles, because who doesn't love noodles? I'm just gonna go rinse this off really well and then put it back in the bowl, and then we'll make our pesto recipe. Okay, so we've got our kelp noodles here, and I'm just gonna make a quick vegan pesto recipe that I really love. Actually, shout out to Melissa Wood Health, one of my good friends who has this recipe on her website, and it's really, really good. So I have it pulled up on my phone right here. Basically, all you have to do is 2 cups of basil. So I'm just gonna measure it all in the blender because I'm all about dirtying less dishes. The easier, the better. Okay, so I just rinsed off the basil. I'm probably just gonna use the whole thing. 2 cups, but like tightly packed. So you want like a good amount of basil, which is also just adding so much good stuff to this recipe. This is about 2 cups. If you're trying the recipe for the first time, it's always good to go exact, but when I know I like all the ingredients, I don't mind just eyeballing. Okay, then we have 1/2 cup of pine nuts. And pine nuts, they're a pretty heavy food in general. I like them. I love nuts and seeds. But again, if you're pairing pine nuts and like nuts and seeds and olive oil and different things with a pasta, it can actually get pretty heavy. So that's where kelp noodles come to the rescue. Okay. And 3 cloves of garlic. I'm personally gonna add 1 because garlic it kind of bothers my stomach a little. Still trying to figure out if I have SIBO or not. I don't know what's going on. So I'm just gonna do 1, but 3 cloves does taste really good, and garlic is so good for you. So feel free to add that. 1/2 cup of olive oil. Okay. 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Guys, I'm just gonna squeeze a little bit of lemon in there because I like extra lemon anyway, but the recipe calls for 1 tablespoon. I'm a bit of a lemon freak. 1 teaspoon of sea salt, eyeballing. Isn't this the best recipe ever on YouTube? It's so specific. And a little black pepper. The main things to obviously focus on to make it taste the right consistency is the basil and the pine nuts and the olive oil. That's gonna give you your base, and then, you know, a little more lemon juice, a little more salt and pepper, it's up to you. So now we'll just blend it. And just so you know, a lot of pesto recipes are not vegan. I think a lot of them will add like Parmesan cheese or different things. I actually never knew that. I just thought it was vegan. So it's something to note if you're buying it out. You might just wanna make it at home or ask. Make sure you blend it well so there's no like chunks of garlic or anything in there. You want it to be a little smoother. I also just realized I forgot 1 ingredient, which is 1/4 tablespoon or 1/4 cup nutritional yeast. So with nutritional yeast, this one that I have right now is a little bit different. It's like a blend by Bragg's that I really like. Plain nutritional yeast probably tastes better in this. This is the one I had with me in the kitchen, so I'm going to use it. But I would definitely recommend just a simple nutritional yeast. Okay, so I'm going to stop blending it now. I think a smaller blender also might be easier, or if you want to make a larger amount, like let's say you're making 2 or 3 times the serving, I would recommend. So it blends a little better. I'm going to pour this on. Okay, so I've got the sauce on here, cleaned up a little bit. Now is the fun part. You gotta like really get your hands in there and just kind of mix it up. There's also some really good recipes for like a cashew Alfredo sauce. Like when it comes to eating dairy-free sauces, there's so many, like you wouldn't necessarily know. Like you could add coconut cream, like blend in different nuts and seeds, and it really gives that like creaminess to it. Just gonna rinse my hands and then we'll pour a little bit into the bowl. You guys, this smells so good. Can we just talk about you don't even have to cook this either. You can eat it cold. I mean, you could heat it back up and eat it. But no need to ever have any other kind of noodle, in my opinion. Okay. So good. Oh my God. You guys have to try this recipe. Insanely easy, good for your thyroid, good for your heart, anti-inflammatory, helps you burn fat, you know, grain-free, gluten-free, all the good stuff. So definitely try it out. If you do, let me know. If you guys have any cool like kelp noodle recipes, let me know in the comments. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.